All right, so we're back. Sorry about that. Something got screwed up, and no, crack. Sig did not get me yet. So we're speaking
Yeah,
of which, I know we were going on this whole other thing, but just real quick, you touch on
yeah.
it. I don't know if you guys follow Ben Stager, if you know who he is or if you follow him.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I guess there was the video of the USAA guard, his gun going off at the gate, but then now I know. Now there's a class action lawsuit with I think 73 or 78 um, people that have actually been allegedly injured by that gun that they filed against him now. So it's
Buy
still
your
getting
cigs while you can.
yeah.
My so I saw that video. My question is, why was his hand even on the holster near the gun when he came out of that gate? Because without seeing the close-ups, like yeah, his finger wasn't in the trigger, but
Right.
they had the issue with those holsters, which was Safari Land, and they made
Right.
corrections to that. Was it an old holster? Was it the gun? Did he touch it? I'm not a SIG defender. To be perfectly honest with you, the 320 series is like SIG made a functional gun and then took everything away from shooting that made it fun. That's just my impression of it. I've had the 320 when it first came out, and then I had an M18, and I've qualified multiple times on the M17. It's just nothing's fun about that gun. It's the most boring. Like I thought that was Glock. It's not. SIG outdid him in that.
Well, so me and Matt have talked multiple times about the resting of the hands on the holsters when you're doing anything. Any of us have worn an outside the waistband holster for longer than 15 minutes. You'll
Yeah, you rest your arm on
you'll
it
rest
sometimes.
your
Yeah.
arm on it. You'll do the old west gunfighter, hang your thumb over the gun, whatever. Or like I broke an optic at a match when I was walking by a table and accidentally bumped my holster on a table. So when you got an outside the waistband holster with a quote unquote duty gun, you should be able to bump it or rest
Right.
your arm on it, or you should be able to fall off a freaking cliff and it not go off. And that's a problem. And whether it's Safari Land's problem or if it's SIG's problem, I think maybe the answers aren't in the extremes. Maybe it's both. Or
Right.
I don't know, but Safari Land makes good stuff. I mean, I own a bucket of Safari Land holsters, and I don't know. They seem like they're heavy duty and
And
well
Oh,
thought
they're
out
great
to me.
to your
holsters.
point, Chris,
Yeah.
yeah, to your point, Safari Land makes holsters for probably hundreds, if not thousands, of different handguns, and none of those have reports of
And
Yeah,
going
they're
off
all
in
high
it's
a
Sig's
duty
fault.
quality
holster.
duty.
It's
They're high
100%
quality.
Sig's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, they're high quality duty holsters. I mean, if you look at any of the cops, any of the SWAT teams, all this stuff across the broad spectrum, even the military, it's Safari Land is the gold standard.
Yep,
Hmm.
And
And
100%.
the one from Michigan, the incident from Michigan, where the FBI was able to get the gun with the fired case still hold, they
mhm.
detached the holster. That was an alien gear holster.
And those are, I know he's retired now, but I know a PD officer that carried a level 3 alien gear and he loved it. But he was also shooting a guac,
So,
guac.
yeah. All right. So that aside, with the SIG,
Yeah.
because crack
Yeah,
got us on that topic. Go back. I'm sorry about what happened. Go back to what you guys were saying before, if you remember.
yeah. We were
Uh,
talking Winchester 1907.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically just that we were talking about Battlefield 1
Hmm.
and
Great
how
game.
it's the best game. I love Battlefield 1. The operations mode is undefeated. It cannot be beaten. Like it's the most epic thing ever. So yeah, I discovered the Winchester 1907 in that game, and I was telling Baron when we dropped off there, I was searching online. I'm
Hey,
like,
mom.
what is this gun? What's that?
Oh, did you? Oh, was I muted?
No, no, no.
Hopefully I was.
Yeah.
No.
No,
I was like,
sorry.
I was gonna be like, I was gonna say, Mom, meatloaf. No, sorry, no. I was gonna tell you, just let my dog in my office. I got family over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, it's good.
go ahead. Sorry, buddy. I
No,
didn't
you're
mean to
good, man.
interrupt.
You're good. So yeah, anyway, I finally figured out what it was in this game, Winchester 1907, and I'm like, man. So anyway, yeah, they're an amazing gun. They were one of the first successful commercial semi-automatic rifles. Because man, like people had a lot of ideas about semi-autos in the early 1900s. That was the rage in the gun world. Everybody wanted to do semi-autos. In my opinion, the problem is the magazine. The magazine was a very difficult invention to get right. And Winchester nailed it with their magazine design. And what's also funny is they were the design of that rifle, they're working around John Moses Browning designs. So it has that plunger on the front. Like the whole reason for that is they're like, we can't do a freaking charging handle or something because
he patented
JMB
that,
over there.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're an awesome gun. But to answer your question, Baron, they're originally chambered in 351. We sold a pile of them to France domestically as well. But the problem that rifle had right away, and this is the Achilles heel to that rifle, it's a real weakness, is the forend. So underneath the forend is a giant huck of steel. They didn't, it's a direct blowback gun. They didn't really have a good understanding of gas operated versus recoil, right? And so the way that they figured out how to slow down that recoil operation is add a 4-pound huck of steel underneath the forend, which does work. The problem is that it's got this thin wood forend and it just splits those. I bought mine with a split forend. And so anyway, a few years down the road, they changed caliber twice. I'm pretty sure twice. And they ended up with, I think, like a 4 something. It's a pretty fat bullet. And if you look at those, they've got a really beefed up forend. And it's a great rifle. The only real downside to them is 5-round capacity, which I don't really care about. And they're very heavy. Like unloaded, they're 8.5 pounds. That's a heavy rifle, man. Like for what it is, because a lever gun unloaded is half that. So anyway, yeah, 401 Winchester. Thank you, Jolly. Jolly's always
Didn't
got
they have extended police mags for that? No, that was the Remington 08, right?
That was the Model 8, yep. And then the 81, I think, after that. And those, from my understanding, are actually made in Missouri, which is kind of cool because that's where I'm at.
Well,
those are long stroke action, aren't they? Long
they're whatever the same. They're the same operating principle as a Browning A5, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and on the magazine note, though, so we sent over 5-round mags to the French, and the French were like, hey, dude, we're at war. We don't want none of this 5-round stuff. So they actually manufactured their own 10-round mags. Now, you can find those on Gunbroker every once in a while, but you're going to pay over $400 for one. They are not cheap.
Well, the gun's not cheap either, though, is it?
Yeah, the gun's not cheap.
Well, you think that, but I got mine for like $780. So some people, they'll throw theirs on Gunbroker and they think that they have just uploaded the Grail.
They'll be don't try to lowball me, son. I know what I got.
Yeah, I know what I got.
This was carried by Bonnie and Clyde.
That's right.
I know what I got, son. Don't try to lowball me.
So
That's
people
every
do
boomer
that,
at every
but-
gun show.
Yeah. And there are some really good examples. Every once in a while, you'll see some guy upload one that looks like it's been through Turnbull. It's beautiful and it's original. Those can be, $2-3 grand. But when you get a used one that's been loved, yeah, I mean, under $1,000 is not uncommon.
That's actually, so see, now I need another gun. But the thing for me that I struggle with as a dealer is people don't understand that condition aspect. So like we deal with a lot of Lugers, especially, and P38s, and actually I had a beautiful, I mean, just perfect Remington Rand. And of course, those, if you've ever seen an original, they'll have like it went over the machine one time to get buffed or however they do the finish on it, and there'll be like a circular cut across it, which is normal for those. But I mean, just unissued. And I don't remember what we asked for it, but it was north of 2,000, and people were like, "That's crazy! It's a 1911, it's World War II," and like Luger's bringing $4,000 or $5,000. But when you're talking about a complete rig with a 96, 97% condition gun, matching mags, all that stuff. And people are just like, I don't know why it's so much money. Well, condition is everything. You can buy a 30 Luger, issued Luger to like say a Swiss gun or something like that for $800-900, but it's not the same gun. And as a dealer, people just don't get that. But when someone comes across it, that's like, oh, I know what that is.
Yep.
Then it's sold.
Well, the other thing is they're not making those anymore. So
No.
there's a finite number of every one of those old guns. Let's not forget that every new gun built will one day be an old gun. So Glocks that we have that they're just crapping out at the cyclic rate, plastic Tupperware, they're common. Nobody wants that crap nowadays. Everybody's got 5-6 Glocks and they're great guns. But in 40 years, that Glock Gen 1 with the plastic Tupperware, whatever, it'll be collectible to somebody. It'll be an old gun at that point.
Well, the Gen 1s are collectible now.
Yeah, P80s. Yep, the P80s.
Yeah. So, and then with like in the case of the 1911s, I think they made like just under 2 million, 1.9 million, somewhere around there. And then the ones that were lost in war, they had there's a finite number of actual war government model real 1911s and 1911A1s. So as more and more people get into those, and like I'll tell you what, no lie, all right. When those things started to go crazy, M1 Grands, carbines, 1911s was after like Saving Private Ryan and stuff. Everybody had to run out.
Or Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, 100%. I already had all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, why are the prices creeping up like crazy? Absolutely. Hey, let's not dismiss the power that the media has, social media and movies have on us
video
buying
games.
our guns. The whole reason.
Yeah, Battlefield 1.
Games, yeah.
Matt and I were talking about this Battlefield 1. I wanted a Gewehr 98. It wasn't high on the list because they were attainable and affordable. Battlefield 1 dropped. It was like a month later. They almost doubled or tripled. It's like, come on, that's what I wanted, and now it's out of reach. Not going to happen.
Have you guys seen the YouTube channel called Agent Espo at all? So
I've seen it a couple videos.
I've had him on my podcast. He's one of those guys that got into guns because of modern warfare and all those guns, and he's really nerded out about like the specific variants of ARs, even down to like the different like soldier kitting out. And it was an awesome conversation I had with him, and just the level of like you said, the turkey tism, the tisms he's got when he's like, oh, this mag pouch that they cloned on this guy is this mag pouch, and I'm just like, oh, I have no clue.
I'm about as much. Chris and I talk about. I'm about as much of a cloner. If it looks similar 6 feet away, I'm good. But some people are like the roll marks are not exact.
Oh, dude!
Yeah,
listen, with this reproduction that I just got. I am up to I'm up to 3 emails now with people telling me like, I understand you're happy, but the roll marks are not correct, so you shouldn't be calling it. And I'm like, dude, put a freaking vest on with a bunch of pockets on it and take a hike.
You know what's funny about it, and I think Barrett can speak to this because being in the military, you will get there might be a certain thing where it was issued a certain way, but very quickly you'll get parts changed. Armors, stuff will break. I know our armors would switch, whatever. When we had Berettas and stuff, you get them issued, but then they'd need this part or that part or something would change.
Not
or
matching
would crack.
grips,
They wouldn't match. No,
yeah.
they just get all kinds of different parts thrown on them and everything else. And you see that with 1911s after they went through the arsenal refurbished thing that you get from CMP and stuff. They'll have different. Yeah. Chris, didn't you just buy one? It's got like a Remington Rand slide frame or something.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legacy weapon, legacy collectibles.
I think.
My God. So I put on layaway a Nazi Browning high power and a Remington Rand and Colt 1911 from World War II. And I can't wait because I'm going to buy them at the same time. So they got to ship them together. And I want to hear them guns yelling at each other all the way to the NFL. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
That's awesome.
But yeah.
And also, That's a great defense against anybody saying like, "Why are you buying Nazi guns?" It's like, no, look, I got
No.
both.
I got both.
Well, if anybody says you're buying World War II Nazi guns, whatever, because you're a bad guy, we probably shouldn't even be saying the N word on this, but we're speaking of it in the
Yeah, there you go.
historical,
Heck yeah.
There you go.
yeah, in the historical term. I don't support them, but it's a solid part of firearms history because
Yeah.
100%.
the FN Browning Belgian FN Heffen Fabrique Nationale plant was taken over and they were retooled. Same thing happened in a bunch of different countries. And yeah, like history is cool. Like
Matter
you
of
just
fact,
pulled
the
out
Belgians were so mad about that after the war, they came, they said, we want to buy the FAL. And they said, piss off to the Germans. We're not selling you FAL. So they got the G3, but that's what, yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. And you know what kills me about that side note here is the people, I'll get people, and I know Josh gets this. I know for a fact Baron gets this, and you'll probably get Chris. People that will go in your comments on videos on TSOS and scream at you about buying a Turkish gun. How dare you buy a Turkish gun? And I'm like, open up your safe, bitch. Let me see if you got German guns, Nazi guns, or what, or if you want to go back through America's jaded past on stuff, jacked up shit we did to people and continue to do to people. But you don't want all those guns. You don't have a problem with that, but you want to scream about the Ottoman Empire from 2,000 years ago. I get people doing that. Do you know what the Ottoman Empire did? I'm like, who gives a shit? What that was 2,500 years ago. Like, I don't care. I know this gun is $300 and it's quality. So get out of my face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I just put $100 pair of Herrick skip checkered grips on my new Tism 45 Colt Commander that I bought for like $400, just because I watched the 7076
See?
about
that guy
Swinson gun.
Chris,
I had him on my podcast, man.
I sent these guys your picture of your gun. I'm like, look what my buddy Chris did, dude.
Oh,
Everybody's doing the Swinson copy. It looks so good, and those grips look so good,
dude.
I've got another set on the way for my TSOS, which I might be giving away too much of my project. But yeah, I mean, those grips are just
they are
on a two-tone gun, on any gun, but on a two-tone especially, they just you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. We all and Herrick's been in the game. Like, my dad's an old school gunsmith from, till now from the, 70s and 80s. And Herrick's been in the game since the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
So they've been building.
Still chugging along, still making those great grips. I got to say thank you to 45 ACP guy. He dropped a super chat. Thank you. If you guys want to ask questions, if you won't miss them, like I said before, I'm trying to, because the more I do this stuff, I want to get a computer so I can sit there and answer. Because I miss stuff on my phone. But, man. Go ahead.
Back to like the World War II stuff. I don't get that whole like, oh, they were Nazis or oh, they were Japanese or this, that, and the other. Like, if you read memoirs, there was bad people on every side. But if you read memoirs of most of the guys on any side, it is so relatable from a human level to be in their shoes that, and I won't make the excuse for all the Germans, but a lot of them was like, hey, we were treated like dogs. Now we have something to stand for. We're German. We're proud. We just want to serve our country. But a lot of the memoirs I read, like after like 41, the morale just drops. Like, we know we can't, this is wrong. But at the same time, it's like, what do you do? So it's a lot of people just discount that. They want to paint things in black and white. And that's just not the case. You have to look at it from the human aspect, the human side of it.
Yeah, well, everybody's so morally superior now.
Oh yeah,
and we look at history like we would be so much better back then. Mm-hmm. It's like no, we wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Humans have been humans for however long they've been around.
Meanwhile, slavery. There's more slavery globally nowadays than you know what I mean.
Than ever before.
Than ever before.
Yeah.
It's insanity. People only pick and choose. You're 100% right. They pick and choose what history they want. Like, for example, did you know that the British Navy spent 53 years on the seas, stopping the slave trade. Nobody says shit about that. They were one of the biggest, countries and navies out there at the time, and they actively intervened in the global slave trade for more than 5 decades. But we'll brush that off.
And correct me if I'm wrong, most of the time people are enslaving their own quote unquote people. You know what I mean? It's not like you know, these people are enslaving these people. No, they're doing it to their own people. Like,
history's not that clean, man.
no.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
and-
100% right.
And
And
like a
then the
lot
other
of
thing
people,
is, the artifacts don't have, sorry, Baron, but real quick, but the artifacts don't have an ideology either.
That's right.
To me, being like super into history, especially military history, I look at the artifact and I'm like, who was the man that wore this? What happened to him? Where is he now? All that kind of stuff, just as a human being, not, his ideology or, Go ahead, Baron. Sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna get back to the topic of the slavery thing, but like the Slavic people are the most enslaved people in history, even currently. But we just glance over that, and I think a lot of it's because we're American and like we focus on us, and rightfully so. I mean, if we wanted to, we really don't need NATO. Honestly, we could do whatever we want if we wanted to. But at the end of the day, we just get so focused inside of our own large country that we just don't want to look at what's around us. But that is what it is.
45 ACP guy just wrote the history's written by the winners, and that's absolutely true. It's
absolutely the truth.
Yeah,
there's a clip. I haven't seen it yet, but there's a clip from the new Nuremberg movie where Russell Crowe plays Hermann Goering, and he has this back and forth with the guy that played Freddie Mercury. I forget his name, but he has a back and forth, and he's like, I'm only in this cell because you guys won. You're not morally superior. Look at what you did to the Native Americans. Look at what you're doing currently to the Japanese. Look at what you're doing. And he went down the list, and I was like, damn, bro.
Well, that's what I was going to say, man. Is like,
I was like, he got a point,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is that, look, this is going to sound how it's going to sound, but like, do you guys know how we ended the war with Japan?
Yeah,
we incinerated women and children
of thousands of civilians
in an instant. Yes, like,
and it's not because it was a tactical target. It's because it was too fogged over to hit the military target. So we're going to hit this instead.
Yeah, that's dark, man. Like, So, and look, history is what it is. I'm not, but I just think like when we talk about these artifacts, these guns. I mean, like, look, this is another one I got in a fight with somebody about the other day. They were trying to like come at me about T-sauce. Actually, it's the same thing.
There you go. See?
It always loops back to T-sauce with us.
All roads end at T-sauce.
That's right.
Instead of Old Path Traveler, it should be Old Path to T-sauce.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man, I about wrecked this sure mic. Holy shit.
So I was fighting with somebody, and they're like, basically in their diatribe, they're like, the gun that won the West. I'm like, hold on, what does that mean? Won the West? You mean like?
You mean like kill Indians?
Won the West is a really righteous way to frame that. Like, and look, again, I don't feel bad about our history at all. Because even like the native thing, dude, just go research the Comanches for 25 minutes and you're going to be like, oh, that's what we walked into? Okay, got it. Like, nobody's innocent here. Nobody's innocent.
Yeah, the indigenous people will just say that because I don't know what the flavor of the week is. The indigenous people on this continent were pretty, I don't even want to say that word. We're very mean to one another for a long time. Before Christopher Columbus showed up, gave them whatever. I mean, all the way up to
what's funny about
the
history,
French and Indian Wars.
Who gets the term? Let's take that term Native American or indigenous. And we're getting off topic, but let's just go down this rabbit hole. How far back do you go? 2 generations? Are those the original people here? Right. 3 generations? 10 generations? 40 generations? Because technically you could keep going back through history to say, well, the dinosaurs were the indigenous ones here. Because if you're talking about Southwest United States, that was all Mexico, bro. And we went down there and kicked their ass out and threw them out. So are they the indigenous people? Maybe not, because there were natives there that the Mexicans came in and they whipped their ass and took that land. So
then you got the original, like the Aztecs and the Mayans. It's like this is. You ever heard of an Aztec death whistle?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. You pick your area of the world, and you're going to find some people just chilling there, and somebody else comes in and goes, "We want your shit," and then
Yeah.
they fight, and whoever wins gets to write the history, like he
Somebody
said.
shows up with a
We
bigger
were the
boat.
good guys, you know.
Yep.
So
Or
it's
Well, and
with a
funny.
bigger boat.
it's always been that way, and it like it doesn't justify, because I would like to think we're not morally superior for sure, but I'd like to think that with all of the history we have now, we cannot repeat those mistakes. But at the same time, like it's nothing new. It's
Right.
nothing new. It doesn't make it right, but it's nothing new.
Mhm.
Like
And that's just like to kind of go down a different topic, but like with the military, when I first enlisted, it was like, oh, patriotism, want to serve my country and all those things. And I still want to, but I can tell you, having been in, like that's not what it's about at the end of the day. Like, no, the politicians don't care. Yeah, you can have your Veterans Day and all that stuff. And the veterans themselves are serving for the right reasons. But I think once you've gone through 2 or 3 enlistments, like the veil's pulled at that point. It's no different than contracting, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
People are going to kill each other. It's going to happen all the time. Like, if I can keep my homeland safe, though, in the process, regardless of the morals, then okay. And I think as a service member, you have to kind of look at it that way. I just want to keep my people safe. But we can't pretend to be morally superior. We've done a lot of horrible things, even in
Yeah.
these last couple of wars, whether
So
people want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
we can
And
get
ultimately, like you said, in the military, you end up doing it. You're like, I'm just here in case my homie here goes to war. I'm gonna protect him. You're doing it for your buddies at that point. You don't even really care about the politics or any of that other stuff.
right. And I was thinking as far as the artifacts go, like we were talking about, what a lot of us are doing is being good being good stewards of these artifacts. Like,
Yeah.
for the reason I bought those 1911 high power is not necessarily, I'm not going to shoot them all the time, but I want it as a talking point in my collection and to be a good steward of that section of history that I have been blessed to have. That does that make any sense?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I
100%.
I just like, so I can one day maybe show my nephew or my son or whoever, say, hey, this is what was going on at this time. This is actual, you can touch this piece of history. This was really there. Like, this was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And because it's far enough gone, but it's not so far gone that regular people like us are priced out of it. Yeah, some of that stuff's pretty expensive, but if you, I mean, they got a layaway program. If whatever, you can still afford some of these uh, pieces of history, whether it is from whoever you want to be, whoever it is from.
That's the great point that you made there, that like it's about the history. And like, I have a 1941 Mazin Nagant. Is because I love Russia? No. But it's like you hold this rifle, you hold these pieces, and the way I think of it is you're touching history that you will never be able to visit.
Yes.
Right.
I will never know what it's like to walk into Berlin with a Mazin Nagant. I will never know what that's like. But I can hold something.
You get a rifle, you get a packet of cartridges, figure it out.
Right. That's pretty much it. But yeah, and to your point with your Belgian high power, man, it's an incredible time. It's one of the most pivotal times in all of world history that we have recorded, and to own a tangible piece of that is incredible. It's incredible. And yeah, I mean, like I own a few like that. I've also have family who one of them has a what's it called? The Hitler Youth knife.
Oh, yep.
Right. It was passed down. His granddad brought it back from the war.
And usually you had to do something to get those off of a guy. You know what I mean?
Truly.
They were pretty important to the people that had them on their persons at that point in time. So
yeah, but I held this thing, and I'm just like, it's an emotional experience. You're just like, this traveled from Germany to my hands, and it's just incredible to be a part of that.
Yeah.
It went on a boat in a pack.
Yeah.
A guy got it, did the thing. He got it. He served. Something happened to him. Another guy got it, carried it with him, rode on a boat, and somehow through handing down, it ended up in your hands.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's
Absolutely
pretty
wild.
cool to think about. Yeah.
And that's my favorite pistol in my collection is a Russian Tokarev. It's a 1941 or two. I'd have to look at it again, but it's all original, super rough as they were then. But it's a dual captured pistol, so it was captured by Germans who were then sent to the West and then captured by an American. Now, there's no papers on it, but the reason I know that is because we, the Americans, were the only ones who were allowed to keep insignia. Anything with a swastika on it, we were allowed to keep. No one else was. And so the holster's decorated with a mainly mechanized infantry. I think there's a mechanized infantry assault badge. There's an Iron Cross second class. There's a epaulet, and then there's the Totenkopf for the Panzer crews or the mechanized crews. And so since all that's on there, that would only mean that an American captured that. And how did the German get it? Well, if he didn't take it directly, it was taken from a Russian, put in a stockpile, and then issued out to one of these units.
Right.
And so it's, even though monetarily it's not the most valuable gun for sure because of condition, just the history with that. That went from the East, from the Soviets to the Germans to the Americans. To me, that is fascinating.
Yeah, you couldn't jump in your DeLorean time machine and go back there and recreate that story if you tried. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, and the other thing I think we have to remember too is, let's remember this, that the regular soldier, like Barron was talking about, like he and I were regular soldiers. I was serving during the time of Bill Clinton. That's how old I am. I didn't like that dude. I didn't even care about politics then. So to sit there and say all the entire German army were all Nazis, or the entire Imperial Japanese, a lot of them were just like, their government said, it's always the dudes at the top that screw shit up, and then us plebes have to pay for it, because remember, they mobilized everybody. They're like, you're just gonna show up, now you're in the army, here's a rifle, go fight the Americans, or go fight the Germans, or go fight the Russians, or whatever. And we're always the ones that pay for that stuff. It's just like nowadays, not everybody in our military is super fans of Donald Trump or when Biden was in. It's the same damn thing. So you can go back through history. If you really pay attention and look, you can go back, and some of them didn't support the politicians in, Russia and Germany and Japan. And they were just stuck. What are you going to do? You're going to either get shot by your own guys, or you might have a chance to live if you're fighting the Germans or whoever. So,
well, particularly,
it's always,
Barron, you alluded to it earlier, and I would love to hear you talk about it because you probably know more. I'm sure you know more than I do about this. But I've been on a deep dive with World War I for like 2 years, and understanding all sides, right? Like, it's a really wild thing that one guy gets shot in this obscure little country, and all of a sudden we're all just like bodies in a field. It's wild. But
that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm certainly not an expert on World War I stuff, but it was definitely just the straw that broke the camel's back.
But specifically, though, you alluded to it, in World War II, why did so many people get this fever about the Nazi Party? Go back to what's it called?
Treaty of Versailles.
The Treaty of Versailles. It was literally meant to humiliate Germany. It destroyed them economically. It took away all of their pride. And now you have this guy come along, and he legit starts to turn it around. I'm not making the case for Hitler. I'm not a fan. But like, the economy starts to turn. German pride starts to turn. We start basically flicking off the world, saying we're not supposed to have a military. Hitler's like, no, we're going to have a military. How about that? They start making planes. They start making guns. And all of a sudden, Germany's like, we're a country again, right? And so it's not that easy when you're not there to say like, oh, every one of them was evil. Like like you guys should, I'd recommend everybody go listen to, I can't remember the name of the podcast, but it was all about journalism in the 30s in Germany. And the journalists all signed on to become actual Nazi Party journalists. And it's not like, oh, we all just suddenly hate Jews. That was not the modus operandi of all these people. It was a it was pro their country, and now it turned into, you know, insanity, and obviously it imploded on itself. But yeah, it's, man, looking at history, like I said, it's never clean. It's never
Well,
clean.
and a good resource that I tell people to go to and listen, it's a channel called Trench Diaries, which he's a pretty small channel. He, I don't know if he's still in the reserves or not, but he was a German captain, at least until very recently. But he'll either read books that are in German and translate them to English and read the book, or he'll just pick one that's historical and read it, mainly from German perspective. I think he's working on some Russian ones, though. But what I've gathered from the World War II stuff, at least from, I think it's Sniper on the Eastern Front and then the Blonde Knight, those two, neither one of those guys were Nazis at all. They had nothing to do with the party. They were never party members, especially the Blonde Knight, which is the highest scoring fighter ace in history.
Wow.
You know, he ended up spending 10.5 years in a gulag. But it goes through the whole thing. And in both those stories, something that stuck out to me is the treatment of Russians and then, or not Russians, but Germans and then civilians when the war ended by the Russians. And he alludes to it at the end of his book where he talks about propaganda. You know, he says, us Germans were heavily influenced by propaganda, but so were the Soviets. And they did, both sides did unspeakable things. But in the West, we don't hear a lot about what the Soviets did. And it was disgusting, right up there with the worst of the Nazi crimes. But he says in the book, and he makes the case for it, it's propaganda. Like, these people were told Germans are subhuman, they're not people, they're scum, they must be destroyed. And I mean, they did unspeakable things to families. It's disgusting, but it's
Kind of
worth.
sounds like the propaganda that's going on now in the Russia-Ukraine war, right?
Yes.
We've been told Ukraine, 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 and you're like, and then don't ask the question why. And now I'm not saying that Russia's not bad, Ukraine's good, but whatever. But just ask the question why.
Yeah.
Well, the Russian people now are closer to us as far as our beliefs than about any other group in Europe.
Fact.
So that it is a good question why, because they're very much like us.
If you
I've got a
back
good.
through all the Minsk Accords and all the, if you really study it, you go, wow. I mean, just basically, with them wanting to be in NATO, how do you think our government would react if if Mexico, if Russia's like, we're going to park 1 million troops in Mexico, they're our buddies now, and we're going to park nukes there? How do you, what do you think we would do? Look at what we did when they parked nukes in Cuba.
Yeah, I was going to say that happened in Cuba.
So, and that was 90 miles off of our border. If they put them right on the border on Mexico, and then that whole thing was crazy with the nukes, with the whole, nukes in Cuba thing, that turned out because NATO put nukes in Turkey, and Russia was like, hey, get those nukes out of there. And we were like, no. And they said, okay, well, we'll put nukes in Cuba. And they're like, hey, wait, what are you doing? You can't do that.
They pulled the old
secretly, they called up. Kennedy was like, all right, dude, we'll get the nukes out of there, but we're gonna make it look like you back down, okay? And so they took the nukes out secretly, and then the Russians took them. I mean, come on, man. It's just it's propaganda, though. You're right about
that. And it's never black and white, like you said. It never is.
And it's like a really cool book you read about 50 Shades of Grey or something like that. I never read it.
Here's what I was going to say too, though. Anytime a government wants you to hate somebody, you should probably just turn the other direction and walk away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the best way. That's perfect. That's the best way you can say it. When Biden was doing the whole thing, they were like, Slava Ukraine, and everybody was doing all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not saying Putin's a good guy. I don't know. I'm not saying Biden was a good guy. But I know with the whole COVID thing and all this other kind of crap, Biden and that administration, my American government, has done more damage to me and my family personally than the Russians ever have. I don't know any Russians that hurt me. I don't know any Ukrainians that hurt me.
Nope.
But then when you start uncovering all this crap that's going on in Ukraine, you go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There is no, you turn out, like you said, it's a gray area. There's really no good guys and bad guys. It's all it's all perspective, and it's all propaganda.
And we'll see if the pattern repeats itself in Venezuela. I mean, that's the real telltale sign. If it repeats itself, then okay, we know.
Hold on, I gotta find. I think I lost my tinfoil here.
Yeah, this just turned into a. It's not a
So let's get back
conspiracy
on
when.
guns.
We'll get it back on guns.
And
We probably
one of
need
the
to-
topics that I thought, Chris, you go first. But one of the topics that Baron brought up, yes, sorry, God, he's getting me. All right, was this crack? Oh, Glenn, yes, Alan Dulles was a scumbag. Okay, we'll get off that though. One of the and now he's got an airport named after him in DC. One of the topics that Baron brought up was the new. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Baron. What you picked up or what you have on your radar, new gun pickups, recently. I think everybody here has picked up a new gun within the last week or so.
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah.
go first. What did you get?
So you talking to me there, Matt?
Yes.
So
You're the only Chris.
Yeah. Listen, dummy. So I picked up a Smith & Wesson model 5906 from 1994. I bought it off Legacy Firearms. So pretty much that has pretty much have a lock on my wallet for the next couple months. But so I bought that baby. So it came in, it was minty fresh. It said mint condition in the box. It showed up and I went and picked it up and I came home and like my mom had just gotten it and I'm looking at it, I'm like, Mom, meatloaf. But no, like I was like, Mom, this gun, they said it was mint and they meant it. Like I pulled the mag out, like we can't show guns on this live stream, but
Right.
the follower that has an orange follower, you know, even if you fire one round through that baby, you're gonna get soot on that follower.
Yeah,
Nothing.
leave a mark,
Bone
yeah.
clean. The only mark on the follower is from where the slide kind of hits it when it's doing its thing. No, I disassembled it, looked, it was, you know, the packing grease had evaporated, like the packing oil. So I wiped it down, re-oiled it, put it back in the box, had the box, the original Smith & Wesson parchment paper is wrapped in, had the owner's manual, everything in the box. And I'm looking at the box after I put it all back together. I'm looking at the box. There's a sticker on the box that looks like it's kind of peeled away and is real faded. Had the former owner's name on it, his phone number, address, and it was from a Massachusetts police department. I won't say where it was. Well, I could say Pembroke Police Department. So I'm like, and it has the owner's old phone number and it had a case number, a lot number, and I'm like, is this a formerly stolen gun or something? But I'm like, but it was in the original box and it's never been shot. Usually when a stolen gun or something, it don't have the original box. It's usually trashed because it's, you know, used as a stolen gun. So I'm like, what's the story on this? So I tried to call I did some Google foo, I tried the original number that's on the actual sticker on the outside of the box. That's been disconnected. So I did some Google foo because it had his full name, middle name, everything on it and where he lived. So I did some Google foo. Guy's like 90. I found a cell phone for him, tried the cell phone. I think his daughter answered. I said, "Hi, is so-and-so there?" Of course, I butchered the last name and they just went click. And I'm like, well, he's either dead or they don't want to talk to me because he's probably in his 90s. So I left a message with the Pembroke Police Department. They called me back and we were talking kind of like, he was like, "What do you want to know this?" And I told him, and turns out in Mass, you got to get, in 1994, he got a permit to purchase and a permit to own this gun. And then every 10 years, I guess, you got to re-up the permit to own guns. And if you don't, you got to surrender them. So this guy bought the gun in 94. That's when it was made. He bought it in 94, didn't shoot it for like 10 years. His re-permit shit came up. Apparently, he said, fuck it. I mean, screw it. I don't know if we're allowed to cuss, but
yeah, you can.
he said, screw it. So it sat in this evidence locker for like 15 years, 94 to 2004 to now. Yeah, so 10 years. I don't know how to do math. So it sat there 20 years. Wow, 20 years? Holy shit. Anyways, however long. And then apparently it got auctioned off the Legacy, and then it ended up here. All that time, never been fired one time, and went through some wild hands. Granted, it's not like gangster gun, but it was just weird, the story, and it was actually cool that I was able, like you said, this piece of quote unquote history, and I kind of came close to actually talking to the guy that bought this gun 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I might try to call the dude again later on, maybe.
I would, yeah.
That's
And
cool.
and be like, hey, homie, I got this gun. I
Got your
might,
gun.
but they didn't seem too interested when I said, hi, is Wayne so and so there? They're like, click, just right away. It's like, no way. So, anyways, yeah. So then I love the movie Reservoir Dogs. So they used 5906s or a variant of that Nickel Smith in the movie Reservoir Dogs. I really want to get, because I love the movie Training Day, get the Denzel 45 Smiths that he wore. He's like, you got 2 nuts. I'm leaving you one. You decide, So
yeah.
I've always wanted one of them 5906s and the 4506s or whatever it's going to be. But anyways, that's my story. So
That's legit. That's cool, man. Like the Winchester 1907 that I got, I didn't have that cool, like putting things together. But basically, I talked to the owner and he's like, oh yeah, this, my great granddad, and this guy, when I talked to him, he's in his 70s. He's like, my great granddad bought this new in 1910 from so-and-so gun store. It's been in the family for all these years. And I'm just like, man, I love that history. That's really cool.
Right.
The guns that come with stories are cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And especially because that whole time it's been owned by the same family. And so his grandson shot it. And, whether or not it sat in a safe for 20 years, who cares? But a lot of people of the same lineage have loved, to a certain extent, whatever it might be, loved that gun. Like,
yes,
Papa loved that gun. Grandpa loved that gun. Dad loved that gun. Whoever it may be, that's rad. I like that stuff too.
So this, Chris, I'm sure you don't know, but I got a Colt World War I reproduction. Remember when they did those in like 2008 and then again in 2011?
Yeah.
So I got one of the 2011 ones, but it was up against a 1920 Colt commercial. And I opted to go with the new one because I'm a shooter. I struggle. I don't know if everybody's different, no judgment, but I struggle to own a gun that I'm freaked out to shoot, which is why I don't own a lot of vintage guns.
Right.
And so I opted out of the 1920, but that one had a similar story where it was like, yeah, this one's been in this family. Now I'll tell you, the one that I lost, and I went after this one, I bid well outside of where I was comfortable on Gunbroker. But basically, it was I hope you guys can help me out with what these are called. There is a Colt factory test pistol, and I'm probably saying that wrong. It has no serial number. It has no like proof markings because it was never for sale. But it's like near mint condition. And the bid started at like $1,000 or something. And it was in private collection from all these years, manufactured in 1914. But basically the slide had all the markings. So it was, it had the look, but there was no serial number, nothing on the frame at all. And, I lost that.
I don't know.
So I know the old guys back in the day, I don't know if this is the same thing, but have you guys heard of lunchbox guns? Where they said the workers would make them. Lunchbox Colt, yeah, somebody just put it in there where they would make them, not serialize them, stick them in their lunchbox and walk home with it or whatever.
Got one piece at a time.
The lunchbox Colt. The old guys would be like, man, it's a lunchbox gun, and I'm like,
got me a sear this day, got me a disconnector this day, got me a trigger shoe this day. Yeah.
Well, and they have those in the Lugers too, which is basically where guys would send home bits, parts, and pieces, and it wouldn't be a matching gun, but they also had the same nickname. But guys, I do have to hop off here, so I'll leave you guys to it. But it's awesome to chat, and thanks as always, guys.
Absolutely.
Always good to
see you,
talk,
buddy. Good to meet you.
We'll see you. Yes, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I've never heard that term, lunchbox gun.
Yeah,
I like
lunchbox.
that. Yeah, man. It's the same with a lot of, like I'm a big Paul Reed Smith guy. Obviously, got him over my shoulder, and it's the same thing there. Like people that work there, they get to build their own guitars, and
Yes.
which is really cool. But I've not spent much time on Legacy, but with you guys talking about it, I'm on here now. This is dangerous.
Listen, I was talking to Chris about this. I think it's called Legacy Collectibles. The guy has a YouTube channel that runs it.
Oh boy.
Boy, does he get in some high-end Nazi PPKs, Lugers, World War II stuff. Just great Legacy Collectibles. Yeah, I know. When Chris was talking about it, I'm like, let me go on there.
Yeah, they've got a section just for 1911s. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh no.
No.
And they're all so I've got
Your wallet is crying right now. It's like,
I know, dude.
they let you make a wish list, and I've got a 1976 mint condition Colt Commander, just like the T-Sys I got, but from the 70s, with a buck and pony wood grips on it in the box, brand new, and I'm just like, add to wish list.
And how much is it?
On layaway, it's like 1,800. So
I mean, speaking of Prancing Pony, Josh, you'll laugh about this. Chris, you find this funny too. I got one time in the video, I was, I like to be, facetious in the video sometimes. I like to joke around, like to troll a little bit in some of the videos. And I called her Prancing Pony one time. Some guy got so mad. He's like, "It's a rampant colt, damn it! How dare it?"
Is it a rampant colt?
A rampant colt, damn it! Not a prancing pony. Put some respect on his name or some shit like that, And I was like,
if you
bro,
go
calm
say
down.
something, put some
I was just
stank
joking,
on it. It's like, bro, calm down. It ain't even
calm down,
serious.
brother. Calm down.
Those people are, dude. I try to appreciate everyone. I really do.
Absolutely.
But man, some people make it hard. It's like, and guys like that they want to, like, there was one guy, he left like 15 comments on one video. And what he's doing is, my videos, I'm long-winded. Okay. I recognize that. But as the video's going, he's just commenting.
Yep.
I'm literally looking at that same page.
Oh yeah.
That's my wish list. And then there's
the freshness.
Oh yes.
But that's the one
you have good taste, my friend.
Yes.
So this guy though, he's commenting. So every time he sees something he doesn't like, comment, and it's just stream of consciousness. So, and all it is just correcting how I talk, and I'm just like, he can't be married. Like, there's no way that guy can be in a relationship.
It's like,
I had somebody do that today, I think, on the Colt Revolver. He's like, dude, it might be the oh, sorry, I just watched the rest. He put the thing in, and then the next comment was, oh, you said that. I watched the whole video. Sorry.
Dang it. I spoke too soon. Yeah, I've had people say, man, you don't talk very intelligent. I'm like, dude, I barely passed high school. I'm from Wyoming. I'm a coal miner, bro, that likes to shoot guns. I'm like, of course. What do you expect? I'm from Wyoming, and I barely passed high school. Like, relax.
And I put out a video yesterday kind of saying that same thing about myself, where it's like, look, I know a lot about 1911s, but the old guard has turned on me and want to make sure that I don't have a voice in this space. I said, hey, I was like, hey guys, let me just take the wind out of your sails. If you're trying to convince everybody I'm retarded, I'm retarded. There you go. It's yours. Like, you win. You're the best. You're so smart. Like, I don't care, dude. Like,
I was in all the special dumb classes in school. Like, I had to have teachers follow me around because I couldn't spell good. So good for you, man.
Josh, your video was 100% on, dude. It was 100% on.
Oh, thanks, man.
I like that video, man, because it's exactly the same thing I have been dealing with. And, it's like with the whole credential thing, I believe I have been, listen, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I have been saying for a long time, unless it's a specialized degree, college is a scam. College does not determine intelligence. Your little college degree with your little paper on the wall does not determine how smart you are. As a matter of fact, do you think all of these throughout history, all these scientists that came up with all these theories, all these famous, super smart people, before there was even organized schools, institutions, they came up with all these theories and facts and science stuff. They were doing all these experiments. There was no school for them to go to. Like, I got
No.
a certificate on the wall. And you're right, everybody, it's credential. Well, are you a scientist? Just because I'm
Yeah.
a scientist doesn't mean I'm an idiot. I can tell when somebody's freaking lying to me or some shit like that, right? But you're
Science is
100% right
literally
now.
just testing a
If you
theory.
want to get an engineering degree, computer science, I understand that. But if you're
Yep.
getting an underwater basket weaving degree, like that, it's just turned into,
Le-
they're not there to teach you, they're there to take your money. And
yeah,
the fact
lesbian dance
that,
theory.
yeah,
Yeah.
gender studies and stuff. The fact that you pay $100,000 to hang that piece of paper on the wall, congratulations, you just got scammed, because you can learn everything. The funniest thing, I've said this several times before in videos, we have more information and computer power on my phone in our pocket than they had when they allegedly sent the spacecraft to the moon, because they
Yeah.
didn't let them. But we have more computer power in our phones than that, and we're getting dumber. Why is
Yep.
that? You can learn anything you've ever wanted to for the price that you pay for your cell phone service right on your phone. Google it. Heck, AI will even tell it to you now. Just ask AI and it'll tell you now. Yet people just, it seems like they get dumber. So you're right on the credential thing. It doesn't mean nothing. You think all these guys went to gunsmithing schools? No, they usually trained under a
Oh,
gunsmith that
SDI.
figured it out.
What a
SDI. Yeah,
joke
there you
that.
go.
So yeah, hopefully you're never sponsored by one of that guy, those people. So I grew up around one of the best gunsmiths that has ever lived, ever, was my father. So I know what a real gunsmith is. I'm really good friends with one of the best gunsmiths for long range shooting in my town. He's a great guy. Like, I know these guys. And my buddy's like, I'm going to become a gunsmith. He's a whatever, took the AR-15 module, and he bought a crappy AR-15 from a local. Didn't work. And he calls me. He's like, Chris, could you come over and help me figure out why my AR ain't running? I'm like, well, you're the one that's going to school for being I'm a gunsmith. So, and you're not learning shit about running a lathe. You're not learning shit about fitting anything. You're literally buying a Lego box and putting shit together. That's not gunsmithing. That's barely fucking armorer level work.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a huge problem I have with these fucking gunsmiths. Like, look at me. I got a new fucking certificate too. Yeah, like, this is like some kind of stupid certificate. You pay $200 to take a class. Now you're certified as some bullshit.
Mhm.
So, like, sorry if I'll wipe my ass with that later. I don't give a shit. Like,
And don't get me wrong, there are places that, like, definitely you got to have knowledge passed down to you.
there's one in Colorado that does a really good job.
Yeah, there's
but
one. There's a channel. I think he's out of Maryland. It's called. You guys might have seen him. He does AR-15 stuff. It's called School of the American Rifle.
Mhm.
And man, does this guy know his shit. This guy, he does videos where he's got I think it's called Mystery something. He bought like 7 or 8 Ruger rifles, and he goes through every one of them. And he has got gauges and all kinds of. He goes through every single one of them, and every one of them failed
Wow.
his standard for some reason, and then he goes back and he rebuilds all of them and sells them so that they're good to go, they're within spec, all this other kind of, and some of them needed entire new bolt carriers. And he didn't just do Ruger, he does Colt, he does all of them, and he teaches classes on that type of stuff. There are stuff for AKs like Rifle Dynamics and stuff like that. If you want that type of info from those guys, you can't, in case of like AKs, you can't go to Jim Fuller. You don't know Jim Fuller. You can't go to Jason Burton, Josh, and go, hey, Jason Burton, show me how to do this stuff. You
Nope.
can't. So, but you got to learn how to do it some way. And if there's not a good gunsmith in your town, if Chris really wanted to be a gunsmith, his dad could have showed him how to do that growing up.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I've learned a lot of stuff, but I am
Right.
not. I will never say I'm not. I break more shit than I fix. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've showed up to the old man with a bag of gun and been like, help, help, so.
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, like, that's there was two guys that I was blessed enough to sort of, they would just invite me over to their shop all the time. You know, one of them lives very close to me, actually. They're both out of the business now. One of them has become a day trader and is just you know, he got tired of the gun business, which totally understandable. It's exhausting sometimes.
Yeah.
And the other one just retired. He's just, you know, I'm old. He's like, I want to just go. He sold his business. He did really well. But those two guys, they would invite me over, and it was just like, what do you got on the bench today? You know, and I would just sit there and watch, and then eventually it was like, you know, particularly I think anybody who's into guns and working on guns, it has to appreciate the 1911, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that became, between the three of us, like we just really loved them. And that's when I was shooting a lot, man. I lived on a property where I could literally shoot out my front door. I was shooting several days a week back when ammo was cheap. And I started working on my own. And then I had this wonderful benefit of having these two guys I can go to be like, okay, this sear, how deep does this relief cut go? Or, okay, you know, my hammer hooks, what's the angle? Like, and all these little things. And they would show me. And now I had a combination of that, self-taught, read a lot of books, you know, the Kuhnhausen book, all my books are back there.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah.
You can probably see the top of it,
yeah.
right? You know, read the books, lots of videos out there, because you get little tidbits, you know, from videos. But yeah, I mean, it is difficult to get into it. And I'm not against people who go to like gunsmith school, right? If that's what you're after and all that good stuff. My whole thing is, I just don't like gatekeeping. I don't like the idea that unless, I don't know, like people set up these standards, they just draw a line in the sand and say, unless you're this, you can't cross.
Right.
I say, how about this? I'm an American. Go screw yourself.
Well,
Do
and
whatever I want.
like I got off on a pretty hard rant against SDI because I've seen their curriculum, and it's literally YouTube videos where if you knew how to search the algorithm, you could find the same YouTube videos, and they're pointing you to these YouTube videos. So like Matt said, that we got all the knowledge that is available to us. And if you're not afraid, to buy a Tism on sale and be like, okay, I'm going to learn how this thing works. I'm going to rip it apart, and you might be throwing $500 down the toilet if you get to doing some stuff. But honestly, you can buy stuff out of Wilson Combat to replace most of them parts unless you ruin a frame.
And that's just your R&D cost anyway, really.
Right.
It's almost like research and develop. You know you're going to destroy some stuff as you're learning.
It's like,
you got to break a few eggs.
I broke when I was watching way too many rest in peace old James Yeager videos. I thought, I'm going to undercut my grip on my Glock, and I'm going to stipple that bitch. I'm going to do all this stuff. You know, I've ruined 2 Glock frames. And, and I'm just like, damn it. Because I didn't have that much money to ruin 2 Glock frames. I still have all the guts and stuff in my safe. I still have those 2 frames because they're serialized. But it's like we've all done it. Like the gatekeeping is is a thing, but also you can't be afraid to, maybe you might break something, but also you might learn something cool.
I would take it a step further and say, listen, so my first attempt at building a complete gun was a Springfield mil-spec and a Taurus 1911. The Taurus, now granted, I got it running and a buddy of mine has it and shoots it. I gave it to him because he was learning how to do 1911 stuff. I'm like, here, dissect this one, right? But no, you absolutely are going to break things. But here's the beautiful part. Particularly on the 1911, the frame and slide, as long as you don't screw with the bushings and don't try to modify the frame, and as long as you don't do anything with the slide or the barrel, everything else is free game and cheap to replace, right? Like, so you know how I got good at working on Sears? I've got a sack full of destroyed Sears. Right? I mean, I'm not joking. I've probably purchased 150 Wilson Combat Sears in my life. Like,
you get the bulletproof
Sears.
Yeah.
Well, so I started with the bulletproofs, but people, I say this all the time. It's a nerd thing to say, but if people don't appreciate the difference between forged and mem parts, put a file. And I said this on our first stream, actually, I think, Matt. I said, for people who don't understand, people who say mem's just as good, okay, go on Midway USA, buy a Wilson Combat Factory Plus sear, which is mem. Then go buy a bulletproof sear and just file them, just destroy them. And you tell me which one you think is tougher. And people, if you're intellectually honest at all and have a pulse, you're going to realize very quickly, oh, the forged stuff actually destroys my files.
Yeah.
Like,
it'll glide across the file. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Skate right off.
I started out with bulletproof stuff, but then I was like, dude, this sucks. So I started going to factory.
They're too hard.
Yeah, they really are. So that's how
Well, and a lot of the I know some other people. A lot of the old masters were working on old World War II stuff. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the old masters that I know, and they were starting to learn how to do this stuff. You're talking about stuff that came out of World War II and Vietnam and stuff like that. You know, in the late 70s, early 80s time frame. You know, you still had all them old Vietnam guys and stuff.
Listen,
like
I've
all
heard
these
some
old
folks
guns.
say that's the only, you couldn't go on Midway or Wilson or wherever, EGW. You couldn't go in. Oh, let me just order a new slide stop.
Yeah,
You had to get that stuff. You had to cannibalize old World War II guns. I mean, you know, granted back then they were $15 a piece, so they would buy them and, you know, and then just, I know, right? And then just take parts off of them and put them to make their custom guns. Now we just go on the internet and we're like, boop, EGW, boom, send me some springs, send me some this, send me, you know. So
right. Yeah, it was a whole different game. Like, we're living in the grand time of any kind of firearms.
Yep.
That is the truth, bro.
You know, you can, you know, granted, I'm not telling you your special stuff, you know, keep it in the safe, keep it original. But like, if you want to buy a PSA parts kit and just figure out how an AR-15 works and figure it out, dude, you're not going to be out that much money. And then slowly build it up from there. You know, as long as you know how to work a go no go gauge and you wear safety glasses and ear, you know, you're probably gonna be all right. Yeah.
But to your point, though, like, look, to quote Andy Reid, the Chiefs head coach there, no risk it, no biscuit. If you're not willing to accept some risk and you're not willing to light some money on fire and destroy something, you can't learn. You know, same with woodworking. You know, I do a good bit of woodworking. A lot of the stuff that you see around me, I built. And how do you do that? You wreck a pile. You make a lot of firewood, is the way my granddad would say it. And, now, but I do think, you know, I say this in my videos a lot, and like on my Patreon, I have, you know, we help people do this stuff and learn this stuff. But there's certain things that I reserve and I refuse to show people. And I basically say, look, you need to go learn this under somebody, just for the sake of, like, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to hurt somebody else. I don't want you to whatever. I don't even want to say the stuff out loud. Because I do think there's something really important about mentorship and being a student under somebody. But a lot of the 1911, man, I'd say 90% of it, that's 85%. You can totally learn how to do this. It's not hard.
Oh yeah.
So I call it the voodoo. Like, my old man knows how to put that secret, like the secret sauce. You know what I mean? The voodoo in the guns. Like, that's what you're paying for. Like, you could buy a $600 Tism and it runs. You know, it runs. I mean, we're all gonna agree they run. All right, but they're not. They don't run. You know what I mean? You know, they run, but they don't run. Like, you talk about the Cabot's, the Nighthawks, people like my old man, those one gunsmith stuff that they got the jeweler file out, you know.
Yep.
And
it's a different world.
It's a whole, and it's like, you talk about the cost versus benefit, you know. It goes up steep, and then it just keeps getting steeper as it goes, as the cost goes up.
The law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, the law of diminishing returns. You know, like, if you're gonna drop
Speaking of which,
$5,000.
before I forget, have
Go
you
ahead.
guys heard of Spardella Arms?
No.
Oh
Mm-mm.
man, that guy makes some beautiful 1911s. I think it's SBARDELLA. I think it's Spardella. Man. But see, this is the things like you were talking about. He's a one-man show. They can't crap
Oh
him
yeah.
out fast enough. You know, he can't get him out fast enough. Some of these shops, like they're a year and a half, 2 years behind on an order because they're doing one gun. You know,
Oh yeah. He's hand checkering his grips and everything.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
he
I mean,
makes some
well,
gorgeous
so
stuff.
I say this too, man. Like, because my channel's become very known as like the affordable 1911s channel, and the reason is like I know how to get my guns running really well, right? But I also say at the same time, like people, I've been criticized like, oh, you just hate custom guns. I flip and don't. That's not true.
Yeah,
Because I say to people, look, if it doesn't hurt to add a couple zeros on the end, are they worth the money? Absolutely. If you've never shot a full blown custom gun, I mean, I will say one of the nicest ones, a couple of the nicest ones I've ever run, was the early days of the Springfield Armory Custom Shop when Les Bear helped them set it up.
yep.
Boy, oh boy, an old school Springfield Custom Shop. That was amazing. The Nighthawk GRP,
Mhm.
just,
Chef's kiss.
oh boy,
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, are they worth the money? Absolutely. Like, it's a different experience. It doesn't make you a better shooter.
No.
It doesn't make your bullets any better, but the experience is
It's the difference
exquisite.
between driving a GMC pickup
Yeah.
and riding in an Escalade. They're both going to
Yeah.
get you there. They both pretty much look alike,
Mhm.
but Escalades are cool.
You get there.
You know what I mean?
Escalade, right.
And some, and I mean, you're not gonna, you don't. Well, some people will off-road their Escalades, but I mean, some guns are meant to work. Some are
Yeah.
barbecue pistols. There's some gun makers that make barbecue pistols, and it just depends on how many zeros you want to start putting at the end of that thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how much you enjoy it. Like I've got the full spectrum of 1911s. I got a couple pieces. I wish I could show it to you. I literally welded on I milled out put an optic on one. I welded on a pick rail under the dust cover.
He did.
And
Yeah.
it's dope. That's my bedside table gun right now. And I milled before the HD 4.5s came out, I milled a sight in front of the red dot, and moved it up ahead of the red dot. And when that happened, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
somebody was winking. So
Hey, I did want to highlight Jolly Roger has a great quote
Oh, I didn't see it. But
from Mark Novak. He says, pick up a tool and ruin something.
yeah.
And that's the truth, man. That is absolutely the truth. It's the same thing with like when I first started learning how to work on my own vehicles.
right.
Let me tell you, I will confess, I have had to replace a drain pan because I didn't know the torque spec on that drain nut. So,
Yep.
you live, you learn. But see, you go through that pain. Same thing with like, this is why I feel a little bad about this. But on my Patreon, somebody made the comment in our workshop chat, and they were like, "Hey, just put a little Loctite on your grip screws." And I was like, "No, don't do that." You know why?
Because you can't get them off.
Well, I currently have a Springfield Armory frame. I have the tap tool sitting right next to me. I need to just get it done. But a long time ago, I used to be that guy who Loctited my grip screws. Well, guess what? The frame's stripped out.
Yep.
It's a freaking nightmare. No,
You'll
don't
take out the
Loctite.
bushings, will come out with it. So now
Yeah.
I will tell you, Josh, I have been guilty. I've said that. Now, people will be like, don't do that. I when I say it, I go, listen, if you're going to use Loctite, preferably use the purple because it's very, wait, let me back up a little bit. Now, I personally suggest you use the O-rings the little
100%.
rubber O-rings. But if you're a Loctite guy, they got purple that is very weak.
Yeah.
And if you're going to use blue, I've even said, I was like, listen, I don't mean put a whole dab on it. Take a toothpick, put a tiny little dot, and then run it in there. But God forbid, don't use red, don't use a lot of blue, don't use a lot of purple. Preferably wait and get the little O-rings if, you know.
Man, on Amazon for $10,
Mhm.
you get a 24 pack of the thin O-rings so your screws don't sit proud.
Right.
It's from a company called Chalice. And I have probably 100 of those O-rings in my parts box. Because, you destroy them. You take your grips off twice and the O-rings are destroyed.
Yes.
But man, like I just shot my Colt the other day. 300 rounds through it. I put some fresh O-rings in before I went out there. Screws didn't move a bit, right? And not only that, you don't even have to tighten them down all the way. Once it starts to grab on that O-ring, quarter turn, and now it's got that cushion.
And the nice thing about them O-rings, if you're really OCD, you can get all your
clock
screws to line
lined
up.
up. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And
That's true.
there's another little trick too you can use is nail polish. Just simple nail polish. You steal a color from your girlfriend or wife or something, and just a quick dab of nail polish, and it just really holds loose, about like a purple, but you don't have to order it. One of my a girl that came over one time, she's like, "Why do you have a bottle of clear nail polish?" I'm like, mind your business.
Mind your business.
I'm feeling sassy
because my grip screws come loose. You know what's funny about that though, too, Josh, when you're talking about that, because I got Les Bears, I got Ed Browns. Those were the hot ones back in the day when I bought them. And this was before Nighthawk existed and all that kind of stuff. But even those guns, you shoot them enough. It's just a thing with 1911s. The grips just come loose. They just they just loosen up a little bit. And a lot of people will be like, "I hate it, piece of junk. Grips came loose." I'm like, dude, that's literally a thing with 1911s. It's
you know what's funny? Back in that stack of books over there, I have like almost every 1911 manual, even draft manuals. I've got the John Moses Browning patent documents back there. Like, I'm that guy. And what's funny is in the early manuals, the grips were never meant to be taken off ever. It literally says, I believe it's in it might be the 1914 manual. Don't quote me on this. But one of them says, never take the grip screws off. And, I've been saying this for a long time. Probably the biggest weakness in the 1911 is those grip bushings.
Mm-hmm.
They're just awful. They're awful because when you're tightening that screw down, you are also tightening the bushing with it. Yep. It's inevitable, right? And which is why I don't do tight screws at all. I just do the O-rings and dodge the issue to get all together. But I think it's a massive weakness. And man, you strip that frame out, it sucks. When I did that to my Springfield, I turned it and I'm like, when's this screw going to tighten?
And you're like, oh no. And then you got to get the oversized tap, like you said, and the oversized bushings. Yep.
And even that, it's not guaranteed to fix the problem.
No.
So
and you'll notice on some of them, they're supposed to stake the crap out of them.
Yes.
If it's done properly. Or I have seen certain companies put in like the white, real heavy thread locker in those.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of them, the good ones, they'll stake the crap out of those bushings in the inside to make sure they don't move or to try to help make them.
And it depends if you're going to run really thin, paper thin grips. Like I got some aluminum grips on one of my 1911s where they got special bushings.
Low bush, yeah.
Yeah, really low pro bushings because but that's also super nerd shit. So,
but it matters 100%. Because people will buy this stuff and destroy their gun and wonder why. And it's like these little things, I'm going to quote Larry Vickers, one of my favorite 1911 guys. He says, said in an interview where he was talking about the HK-45, and he said, when you get a 1911, and I'm not exact quote here, but he basically says, you have to become your own armorer. And he says, if you're unwilling to do that, you have no business with these guns. And it's true because you have to be into them and understand them. Mm-hmm. You can't have Glock brain and buy a 1911. You just can't do it.
As you said it when you and I were talking, Josh. You can't be a trigger basher, and
No.
I think that's one of the problems with. I think people fail to realize. We go back when they were doing the trials, and John Browning was working up to this gun, and they accepted it in 1910 or in 1911. He presented the 1910. They said, "Hey, fix this stuff." This was revolutionary crap back then. I mean,
Yes.
semi-automatic handguns were not a thing like they are today. They're so commonplace, and people crap on the 1911. That was what do I want to say? That was like a new invention. He was the father of that stuff,
Yeah, he had like
basically. Yeah, you had
the
Luger, you had some
hammerless.
other
Yeah.
kind of rare, obscure guns, but nothing like that
Yeah.
had come. And then for it to shoot 6,000 rounds without a problem in his trials was amazing. Now,
Wild.
fast forward 7+ decades or more, and you got Gaston Glock, who basically all these pistols basically copied the locking system, the John Browning. Um,
That
Lock breech.
tilting lock breech action.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Lock breech system. I'm having brain fart.
That's right.
So they copied that. So yeah, you're standing on the shoulder of giants. And
Yeah.
you're talking about a design that was 70 years old at that point. And now yes, semi-automatic guns were still kind of struggling back then. If you wanted a semi-automatic handgun, which is why police departments way up into the 90s carried
Yeah.
revolvers, because you had like a
5906.
Browning high power, you had a 1911 for police. The Smith and Wesson came out for the 5906, no,
Yeah.
39 something,
Yep.
model 39 or 59,
3913.
and the 59 and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So Glock really did hit the market as like it gained a reputation as a really reliable handgun that you could count on.
So,
And I
and
get that.
one thing you got to
But
think about in the history of like when the Glock took over, also they were doing some good marketing because they would actually take all the old PD's guns in on trade for all the new guns. So they would get a whole boatload of these Smiths and good Colt revolvers and stuff, and then they got to sell them off on the secondary market and make money back on top of guns that they sold at a discount. Tactical Tupperware for real steel.
Yeah. But it was like, but to Josh's point, it's perfect. All you had to do now is load bullets in it and go. There's
Right.
no thinking. Kind of like modern cars. If you bought a Model T back in the day and it broke, who was going to fix it?
Yeah.
You were. You were going to fix. You're not taking
That's
it to There were no mechanics. There were no auto parts stores. You had to figure it out. You had to fix it yourself. So
Right.
it's kind of like the same thing with the 1911. You kind of had to tinker with it yourself, and you get to know it, and you get to know its intricacies and its little quirks and all that kind of stuff to get it running. Glock, you put it in, put the bullets in, and go, and it's just you're gonna bash the trigger like Josh said. That's exactly correct.
Just the field stripping difference of, man, the different ways that you take down 1911s, like, and then put the idiot scratch right up the side if you're not careful. We've all done it. And on the Browning high power, you put that, you put the recoil spring and guide in upside down. You just ruined it because it's got that flat part and then it's got the round part. And as soon as you put it in, it'll go in wrong. And you fire that first round and it bends that piece. And then you're out of luck.
Bad news.
And and you got to find a replacement. Like the first gun I ever shot in competition was a Browning high power. And my dad said flat to flat, flat to flat. Whenever I was taking apart, flat to flat. So to this day, if I'm taking apart a 1911, flat to flat, and
but it's also comes from a different world of just a different mentality where like people understood how things work, right? Like for me, I'm the guy that I work on my own vehicles, right? I can't do anything inside an engine, transmission, or differential. I can do everything else, right? Everything else outside those on the exterior, I can do. Same thing with like like one of my dream truck is a 1972 F-250 Highboy. And when I say that, the first thing everybody says is, but you got to get it fuel injected. Why do they say that? Because they don't know how to clean a carburetor, right? I just feel like it's a different mentality today where nobody wants to learn anything. Nobody wants to do anything. Everything has to be microwaved, high speed, low drag Velcro, cheap and easy, hot
And
fast to
throwaway.
use. Yeah, man. And I
It's a
just
throwaway society. Think about this.
yes,
How many TV repairmen do you see nowadays?
absolutely zero.
None. You can't even get your TV repaired if it's damaged. If you call back the fact they just go throw it away, we'll send you a new one.
Yeah.
How many
There's
products
no
do we
such thing as
have?
that Maytag repairman.
Yeah, how many products do
Yes.
we have nowadays where they're like, I've called companies and I can't think about it off the top of my head, but I've called companies, hey man, this broke. They're like, all right, we'll send you a new one. Just throw that one away. And I'm
Yep.
like, wait, what? You don't want to? Nope, just throw it away.
Yep.
And they'll send a new one out. It's like, wait, what?
It's,
So you're
it's
right.
it's bad for us as a society. I'm
Mhm.
not to get too philosophical, but and that's why when people criticize the 1911, it's like, yeah, you actually have to know your gun and care about it. Like, I don't understand this mentality. And people think it's like really cool. Like they feel like it's like a leather jacket on their personality. They think it's really cool to say, I don't believe in cleaning guns. It's like, so that it doesn't even fit in my mind. It's like, imagine somebody about to go skydiving and being like, yeah, I don't know if I packed it right.
I don't
Like, how
hold my
cool am
parachute,
I?
I just stuck it there.
Yeah. I don't believe in parachutes.
So
Oh.
like, but that comes
Hey,
from
Jason.
that comes from the service your Glock once a year, throw some oil at
Yes.
it, and just let it ride. Like you can't do that with a 1911. You
No.
have to. You can do it for a while if you got a good, well-built 1911. You can shoot it a long time without it.
Yep.
Now I will
Malfunctioning.
say I have done some for the sake of the videos. I do have future videos where I neglect maintenance purposely just to
Right.
see what will happen, But I never ever will I ever advocate for you to neglect maintenance, especially on like your carry guns
Mhm.
or things like that.
Yeah,
I mean, you got a whatever gun, a Plinkin 22. You're like, I don't feel like cleaning it right now. And you put it away, whatever.
I've got a Colt Ace that my dad helped me build. You ever seen them Colt
Nice.
Aces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 11, I got a picture of me and my dad working on it together.
That's
Things
cool.
have a gajillion rounds, so it's on a Caspian frame. I have no idea how many billions of rounds have. I just throw more lube on it and keep shooting. I don't understand it. I think I laugh. Like I got a Ruger 1022 that I just throw some lube in it and somehow it still keeps working.
Hey,
I have
Josh,
no idea.
There's pictures in is it a reload manual? Tell me what it is, Chris. With him, he used to hang out with Jeff Cooper. His dad knows Jeff. They got all the pictures
That's
of
way
the Colonel. Yeah. He's got what reload manual is it, Chris?
So my old man built Colonel Jeff Cooper a 1911 that was put into the Cody Museum, Buffalo Bill Cody Museum, and he still's got a good relationship. And I was actually put into the Sierra reloading manual as the youngest kid to shoot a mile with a 300 Ultra Mag, and I was actually under the Sierra reloading manual under the 300. I think it was 300 Ultra. Had a picture of me sitting next to my target with my rifle for shooting a mile.
super cool, man.
It's just nerd stuff that happened a long time ago. I mean, I'm
No,
just a
dude,
coal
that's
miner.
special. That's really special.
But I mean, I got to meet the Colonel. I mean, granted, I was 9. There's not like he blessed me with any kind of magical power, but it was very interesting to. And the most vivid thing I could remember from him, we're walking up like the Cody Museum just opened up, and it's got a big statue of Cody up front with his rifle. And I turned to my dad. Granted, you got to remember, I'm 8, 9, probably. My brother's a baby. And I look back at my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, how many bullets does that gun hold? And so he's holding a lever gun. And old Colonel Jeff Cooper, he goes, cartridges, boy. How many cartridges? I said, hold on. I'm like, okay. So,
my friend, that's not a small deal. Like the fact
cool.
that you have that is so cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah.
By the way, anybody listening, if you ever get a chance to go to that Cody Firearms Museum, it's amazing.
You can't do it in one day.
Yeah. What's his name? Gun Jesus. Ian. from Forgotten Weapons. He's got a couple videos where he went
Gun
there.
Jesus.
It's the gun Jesus.
Dude,
Am I wrong? I mean, he
You're
looks
not
No, we were just talking about him at the gun
yeah,
at the gun
Gun
store
Jesus
when I
went
picked
there,
up my
man.
59.
It is freaking cool. They got so many cool guns. That's where I think I told Baron, I might have told you, Josh. They have the Longmire. They have the Longmire Colt there, and they
Yeah.
have Moretti's Glock 19 there, and they have all of Bob Munden's stuff there. Bob Munden and Becky Munden, all of their stuff.
I don't want to brag. So
Don't brag, but-
Let it fly.
my
Let it fly.
dad was like neighbors with Bob Munden when he lived in Montana. And he came down and did an exhibition. Granted, I was like 5, so it's not like I shot with Bob Munden. But I remember when I was a little kid meeting Bob Munden, watching him do an exhibition that at a Dodge dealership of all places. He was doing his quick draw stuff at a Dodge dealership. And we went to dinner with Bob Munden, and he's talking to my dad because Dad shot against Bob Munden back in the early days of like leather slap and IPSC type shooting. They shot against each other. They were like, my dad tells a story about him doing something. It's a cool story about how these old dudes from back in the olden days just knew each other, just from the competition. It's like if you guys shoot competition, I've met the cool guys in competition. I've traveled to enough places. Like I've had conversations with Max Lee Grandis and stuff like that. Granted, he probably doesn't know who I am, but like, it's cool the stuff you get to meet. And Bob was quick. He was a fast shooter.
Dude, that guy. I was having a conversation with somebody, and this guy, the guy basically should have just like shaved his eyebrows and put Velcro on his eyebrows so he could like just patch night vision goggles. He was that much of I call them tactical turtlenecks.
Yeah.
Like they're so obsessed with all things high speed, low drag. They all have Navy SEAL tramp stamps, right? Anyway, this guy was telling me nobody has ever shot sub-second from the hip with a revolver, and I said, "Hold on." Pulling up Bob Munden videos, and I'm like, "You, sir, are about to look like a flaming retard because you don't know what you're talking about." Bob Munden's a legend, dude.
He said if I didn't draw fast enough, I'd blow up my holster. Like, they used real. He didn't use like rubber, like wax bullets back then.
Yeah.
If you messed up,
real
they had to use the sissy strap on the bottom with a little piece of metal. So if you accidentally got your timing off, it would, kick off into the dirt. But
it's my understanding that he was a hell of a 1911 builder too.
He was a good 1911 shooter.
Yeah.
He always had something going with his gunsmiths there in Montana, and then I don't know the history. This is just through the eons of time of patchwork stories. But like he was just a good shooter. He always practiced. I think he may have had one of the early prototypes of like you ever seen them Cool Fire trainer guns that like you put the CO2, but he had a backpack that fed it up to the gun and it would cycle the gun. So you'd go around his house and practice with a CO2 type pistol, but you're talking like the 70s.
I think he did all his own work on his single actions too, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think he did all of it. I think he did all of his own triggers, hammers, all those fanning hammers and all that kind of stuff.
Man, you had to be careful.
Sick with it, dude. Sick with it.
I mean, and you have to have some kind of special type of hands to do that. To like,
oh yeah,
like, because we've all done it. We've all fanned a revolver in our time, and you're like, man, that stings. It's like if you don't,
it's not so easy. Yeah,
it's not so easy.
And also really hard on the hand in your pistol.
Yeah,
like you actually need to have a high speed setup in your gun to be doing that a lot.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, especially like I watched somebody do that with a black powder, and the black powder guns nowadays, the hands in those are just made of peanut butter metal. They're not meant for that. And the guy snapped it first shot. Boom. He's like, my gun's floppy. I'm like, yeah.
Well, yeah, dude.
Was
I'm
it
like,
a cheap
just,
a cheap one he bought from Cabela's,
it was
Probably
a replica Navy
a
Colt or
Pieta or
something?
it was a Pieta. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Uberti guy. I love Uberti. They're really, really good guns, but
Mhm. But they're still not made for that.
No. I mean, you can buy kits to outfit them to have all that
so
done.
big. Get down.
But, but yeah, no, they're not made for that for sure.
No.
And then you have people that come up and like you show them a revolver. Like I'm always very careful of specifically handing somebody a wheel gun, especially if you don't know how much they know. Because if they spin the cylinder and then they kick the hammer back and stop it, you're like, oh.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that stuff and all that. Now,
are we going to get all the
there are
FUD
two
lore and
extremes on either side. I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I think there are people that are so anal about it, they think if you do that once, it'll destroy the gun. Any quality gun, I don't think it will damage it at all if you do it once. Like letting the slide down on an empty chamber on a
I was
1911.
just going to use that exhibit.
I
meow,
do.
the meow
Now,
video.
I did that of Masada you to a meow with the whole. Like, I get it, right? I don't do it to abuse the gun, but if you do it every once in a while, if it's a modern quality made gun, it's not going to hurt it whatsoever in the least. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. There's some people like, oh my God, you did it one time, gun is ruined. And then there are other people that are like, you could just do it forever. Look, and you will break it if you continue to do it. Now, I have seen revolvers with the crane bent and all kinds of stuff from people doing the spin, flip it closed, and like you said, spinning it like that. And you can bend the crane and doing all kinds of stuff like that. But I think, let me know what you guys think. But I think if you did it once or like once every year, you're not going to hurt the gun. But if you do it repeatedly, you can, depending on the gun and the style, you can really beat up a gun, especially like on a 1911 or whatever. You can smash the crap out of that barrel hood on the back if you continued to do that a lot with a gun.
It's like loading single, like some people drop around in and drop.
You should not do that.
You're just like, don't, man.
Don't
like, but
you know what, though? On that note, I tested that out once because I've got parts everywhere.
I've got the time.
Yeah. I dropped the slide on rounds just to see, like, I want to break an extractor. I actually want to do this. I got to 250 and stopped because it wouldn't break.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is true with all of these, but at the same time, it's kind of not true.
So where a lot of these FUD lore, these things came from early days stuff, where the metallurgy was bad.
Like you said, butter metal. Yes.
Yeah, butter metal. The extractors were junk. And then with the invention of external extractors and spring steel, 100%, it's a lot of vestigial problems from back in the old days that just keeps carrying over, but it's still good practice.
I completely agree. Well, and to your point, I was using, I want to say that extractor was an Ed Brown. You remember, what was their old thing? The Perfection? Was that the old series they did?
I think so.
Parts.
Yeah.
I think anyway, it was one of those. And
kind of like Wilson's bulletproof
extractors.
What was that?
Tontos, maybe. That might be my dad's thing. I don't know.
Yeah. But no, like, it was a good extractor. So that you're absolutely right. But it's the same thing with like spinning. I was thinking single action armies, not the swing out cylinders, but it's like, is it good to throw the cylinder like that? No, but at the same time, like, what's actually happening? You're just doing something a lot of times that happens anyway. Like, the hand is running over and the bolt is getting run over. Well, if it's a good gun, if the bolt and the hand aren't garbage,
just don't lock it. Stop it while it's spinning. You know what I mean?
That's the part to me that's bad, is that the gun doesn't do that at any point. But simply rotating it when it's at half cock, it. Now, I don't like it. I mean, I in general, I don't really hand people my guns that don't know those kind of things, because, man, like, there was one guy I handed a gun to, and he's, again, tactical turtleneck, just everything has to be high speed. And he wanted to make a point and took a GI pistol, and GI guns have very small sights. Okay.
Mhm.
And he wanted to make a point that, look, you can't rack this off your boot with the rear sight, and just scraped the top of my pistol, took the finish right off with his stupid boot.
Did you see all our eyes get big?
Yeah.
Like,
what?
I've never imagined shooting somebody in the heart 3 times so fast. But yeah, I'm like, hey, I hope you brought your checkbook, because you're writing me a check right now for $300 to refinish that. But yeah, people, I'm slow to hand people, that's for sure.
And the 2000s era of, the Magpul videos, and sorry, I was closing my eyes because I was trying to rewind, when the Magpul videos came out and a James Yeager came out, then the boot rack, the belt rack, the desk rack, the off of a car hood rack, and became this thing. Cool. Like I get it. We all gonna train because our hand just turned into a bloody claw. 100% cool. But also, like, I not every gun needs to be treated like that. And
Yeah,
I would even say, like, then now the new cool thing is racking your optic off of stuff. Whoa, like they are little screws, bro. Like none of this stuff is super heavy duty. It's not dovetailed in there. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
No,
stuff?
I think you're absolutely right. All that stuff, and millions of us that own guns are not out there getting into tactical turtleneck shootouts and shit with like heat. I think every one of us, they're like, "Oh, I'm going out this weekend, and it's gonna be like heat, man. It's gonna be like the bank robbery scene in Heat. I gotta be ready and all that stuff." And then you come to find out that you're like, "Nah, I don't even draw my gun. I mean, what the heck?"
Like, if it turned into a real shootout, bro, I couldn't run 300 yards. I would have to stop and eat a ham sandwich. Right? Let's get real. Like I'm not out here like I'm not no Navy squirrel, door gunner. I'm like, if I got to draw, it's going to be 15 yards, and I might have to walk 3 yards. I'm going to be breathing heavy, and I'm going to need a nap. Okay, like so, like let's be real.
Man, well, look, and this is why I'm such a fan of Clint Smith. Like, Clint Smith is such a legend, and he's just been doing this for a long time, and his theories are proven and solid and rooted in reality. And he says this all the time. It's like, man, it's not about shooting fast, it's about shooting good. And this is why I'm such a I harp on it all the time. Is like, man, okay, put all the high speed stuff aside. Everybody's so worried about, like, I got to carry 45 rounds, and I got to hide some body armor under my fitted shirt, and I got to, like, all this. And it's like, hey, just shoot good. Just do that. Because at the end of the day, it's marksmanship, especially for us civilians. And, I made this video and I haven't uploaded it because I'm being really particular about how I'm saying things. But I tell a story about something that happened. I want to say it's in 2011 in New York City. It's the Empire State shooting. You guys familiar with this one?
No.
I believe it's the Empire State shooting. Basically, 2 cops approach a guy. Guy pulls out a gun. Okay. Both cops mag dump this guy in front of a building full of people. 9 people got shot by the cops. Those cops, do you know what they got? Nothing. They didn't get remedial training. They didn't lose their jobs. They didn't get put on a separate post. They basically got, hey, high five. You shot a bunch of civilians. Congratulations, officers. Now, let's just flip the script. What if that was you or me?
As a defensive marksman.
Please.
If you or me mag dumped on a guy and shot 9 people, we would be strung up and crucified for a decade. Our name would stand as moron of a lifetime. And so it's like this whole high-speed mag dump mentality. Like, look, I'm no combat expert, okay? But I was in the fire department, and we saw the same thing in the fire department. You got guys who literally go to competitions, firefighter competitions. You guys have probably seen them, right?
I've seen those.
it's all the same stuff. It's high speed, low drag guys, and they get super tactical about all this stuff. But then they get on a call, and I watched a guy trying to be super high speed put an axe in somebody's shoulder running by him really fast because he's not paying attention because he's going too fast. Literally ran by a dude, axe in the shoulder, went right through his bunker gear, nearly cut his freaking arm off. It's this stuff, the whole thing about slowing down, that slow is smooth, that is a real thing. Like, slow down, do what you're trying to do because you're going to get somebody else really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You think Bob Munden or guys like him or Jerry Michalik and all these people learned how to do that super high speed stuff by, I'm going to draw as fast as I can. You think they didn't start really slow? And that's why, like, Matt, we talk about shooting competition a lot. And the tactical Timmy dudes will talk a lot of shit about the competition shooter guys, but also, like, granted, we're not getting into, take your time and, take your time. Accuracy is more important than shooting fast. I think something like that. Wyatt Earp said, I see that from Jolly Roger Overland, something like that. But, like, if you can't shoot what you're hitting at, you're just wasting ammo. And then, the tactical Timmies out there will say, I'll never shoot a competition because it'll get you killed in the streets. That's a conversation all of us competition shooters have had with somebody at some point in time. It's usually a cop that shows up for the first time shooting a USPSA match. They get their ass kicked by some tax attorney that is
or some carpenter.
300 pounds that's having a great time. He stomps the shit out of tactical Timmy, and then they're pissed and never show back up. Whereas the tax accountant, he's just having a good time. He's just having fun. But that guy's a ninja, and where there is answers are never found in the extremes. Okay, tactical Timmy, cool guy dude, has some points they can make, and the FUDs have a point, and they're somewhere in the middle where competition shooting 3-gun, the guys that run 50 miles and shoot, and all these guys, there's a weird middle ground where everybody kind of, I see you, we all see each other. That makes sense. Like, like the guys that like read way too many zombie apocalypse books and really take John Wick seriously. It's like, bro, like, chill out. And then there's the guys that have their photographer vests and believe if it ain't 45, it ain't worth carrying. Okay, dude, I get it. We've waxed, we have waxed poetically about the 1911 for a long time on this channel. I mean, on this stream, but like, I mean, anyways, you kind of get where I'm going. I mean, it's just like,
well, it's absolutely true.
Who was it? Was it Wild Bill Hickok? Maybe somebody knows that he got in a gunfight with somebody and he shot the dude in the heart from about 40 yards. The guy whipped his pistol out. There you go. Thank you. Started firing at him, and he was like, and put him down. Yeah, there you go. So it was Wild. Well, that's a perfect example right there.
I think it's true what you said, man, that you do take from everyone. And look, like, I still have the Magpul Dynamics DVD. I was one of those guys back in the day. Okay.
This like secret.
Way over.
Oh man, the seat clamp grip gives me eye cancer. It's just
awesome.
Thanks, Chris Costa.
So look, and absolutely, there's a ton of value in what those guys brought. Like, for instance, being really deliberate about your setup. Don't be haphazard and just throw your crap in an Uncle Mike's sock. Wear a good belt. Get a good holster. Practice your draw. What is indexing? Getting a good grip. Tricks about how to like torque your hands into your grip. All that. Absolutely. Where I always felt like it just goes too far is all of a sudden we just go all gas, no brakes into these insane scenarios where we think we're going to defend some Walmart from a horde. And it's like, dude, you're not. Like, I did a search on this, and from 1974 to now, the average rounds fired in a single person defensive shooting, law enforcement or civilian, is 3 rounds. Okay. And there's tons of footage of this too. We have it.
Yep.
Now, in the past 10 years, it's not that way with cops because they're taught to mag dump. Totally different thing. And that skews the data. But when you look at actual defensive shootings, it's 1, 2, 3 rounds. The bad guys flee or they drop dead. And, so that's always been my problem with the tactical guys is they're teaching people draw your gun and fire as fast as you can. And I told a story on a live stream the other day where I had to draw my weapon on somebody. Thank God I had really good teachers. I credit them, really good teachers. What I knew in that moment, the guy was standing in front of a storefront with people at a cash register. If I would have opened up on that guy, those people get shot, right? But see, if I have that mentality where it's like, it's a threat mag dump,
Safety
I'm going to
rule number
jail.
4.
Yeah,
Number 4.
Massive
Sure.
Rule 4 issue. So, yeah, I just, but you're absolutely right. Everybody has value. Everybody's bringing something to the table. It's the same thing that you hear from people about, like, talking about the 1911. Well, it's obsolete. Is it though? Because 1.9 million of them got sold in the last 10 years. Is it really that obsolete? I don't know, because are 1.9 million people all just that dumb? I'm not so sure.
Well, and if you count the 2011, which is just a marketing term, it's a high cap 1911. All they did was put a high cap frame on it, basically.
That's it.
When Para Ordnance started that, so you can count those in the 1911, pattern guns, and they're all the hotness now. Everybody's got to carry a staccato or something like that. I was just going to say, yeah.
Staccato did a subtle move there, and they. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
So, yeah, I've got 2 things. I don't mean to jump on you guys. I carry a HD 4.5 that I just bought that I really like. It's a good shooting gun. Also, have you guys seen somebody's channel did the new? We're gonna shit on SIG again. Bought that new P211 with the plastic bushing broke, and he can't get replacement parts. He's called him, talked to him, whatever. If one piece needs to be really made out of at least pot metal, it's your recoil spring retaining plug, whatever that thing is called, in that particular gun. It's metal in the staccato. Like granted, whatever. And you talk about the 3. I carry a 118 the 18 round mag in that staccato, and I got a reload in my back pocket with a 21 round mag. If I get in a shootout, quote unquote, if I get at a defensive shooting and I dispose of 50 some odd rounds of ammunition, I'm gonna be famous. But me and my buddies kind of talk about that because a lot of us carry high cap, everything from, because I like the Glock 43X. A lot of my buddies carry the SIG 365s, where if you got a reload of an extra 20 on top of 15, it's like cool. But also, like you said, the 1911, man, you can't go wrong. There's still a lot of professionals. It's kind of more of being seen now as kind of a professional's gun. Kind of like if you're carrying a J-frame Smith 5-shot revolver and you're expecting to take on the world with that. No, that's a one. I consider that a professional's gun because it's so hard to shoot. So no sights, 5 shots. You got to make a lot happen in 5. You got 5, and then you've got to make a serious decision on what's going on.
Yep.
And you only got 8 in a 1911 before you got to make a serious decision on what's going on. Hey, Oso, my dog just scared me walking into it.
Well, there was a guy, I did a video. There was a guy years ago in South Africa that ran off a bunch of terrorists with a 5-shot J-frame. They attacked this church and he fired on them. I don't remember if he scored any hits, but as soon as they started receiving fire, they skedaddled.
Yeah.
You hope that's
and
what
they
happens.
had AKs and stuff too, and they set the church on fire. But they didn't expect anybody to be armed. So as soon as they started, he might have hit one person, but as soon as they started receiving incoming fire, boy, they took off.
You hope that's what happens. You hope that's what happens. But you know, I mean, I don't think revolvers are obsolete. I don't think 1911s are obsolete. It's just understanding and practicing and training with all these different types. You can have your next cool tactical master 2011 with 50,000 rounds, or you can have a 5-shot Smith J frame. Either one are equally useless if you don't know how to use it and don't know how to carry it and don't know, or if the spring plug breaks and you can't use the gun.
There's that.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
on top of that, though, and I would just add to what you just said, everything I think is so true. If you can't hit, it's not the first shot that counts, it's the first hit. Making contact, marksmanship. Again, I will never stop harping on this. Marksmanship, no matter what the caliber, no matter what the bullet, the cartridge, or the gun.
You can't miss fast enough. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but back to the so I've been carrying full fat, all steel 45 1911s for 15 years. That is my gun. Now, do I throw in my Smith & Wesson 642 in the pocket to go to the gas station? Absolutely.
Yes.
To quote Clint Smith, they're always too big and heavy to carry, but they're never too big and heavy to fight with, right?
Or
Yeah. Yeah.
Colonel Jeff Cooper said on an interview one time, they said, "What are you afraid of? Why do you carry a gun?
Mhm.
What are you afraid of?" He's like, "I'm not afraid of anything." And then they also said, "Isn't it uncomfortable to carry a gun all the time?" He's like, "It's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be comforting."
Bingo.
And then this guy Lucas, that guy says, "Haven't you guys ever heard of any other 45 ACPs carrying the Glock?" Sure, it's another big gun.
Yeah.
The 45 Glocks, the 21s,
21s. Yeah.
that's a big gun. But the problem, if anybody knows the Glocks well from the early Glocks with the 45s, frame cracking issues with that big 45. It's a
And
9mm gun.
huge grip. It sucks. It's a fat gun. I
2
used
by
to have
4
one years ago. It's like grabbing a bar of soap.
Mhm.
It sucks.
which
huge.
is fine. There's a lot
Yeah.
of great 45.
The M&P
guns.
45s, those shoot great. I like
do.
those.
That's
I
a
own
very
one of
good gun.
those.
Well,
Yes.
but to your point, though, man, is like you said, it's a professional's gun.
Yes.
And now I know it's sort of not as common anymore. Probably, maybe it's completely out of style, and therefore everything that's 10 years old is dumb. But it wasn't that long ago that the most elite forces in our country, what were they packing? I mean, I don't know if you guys ever read Dalton Fury's book. Incredible book, but he's one of the Delta Force guys that went after Bin Laden and Tora Bora and all that stuff. And fantastic book. Anyway, there's a quote in that book, and I hope I'm quoting the right book. Somebody will correct me, but he talked about how in that unit, nobody cared what you did with a rifle in the shoot house. It's like, okay, cool, rifle, congratulations. That's the easy stuff. Show me what you do with that 1911. And that was really the mark of, are you a shooter? And I believe in that same book, it's the finest lead delivery machine that's ever been. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason these guys carried it. And I carry it because, look, at the end of the day, what am I carrying a gun for? Okay. When push comes to shove, I have to make hits. What's the best thing to make hits with?
Big fat piece of lead.
There's nothing better than the 1911.
The British used to say, a little powder, a lot of lead, shoot them once and shoot them dead.
There you go.
So, they wanted to, again, we got to go back over 100 years, and they had problems with the 38 revolvers in the Philippines.
Yep.
So they were bringing the Colt 45s back out. Remember, it's not long Colt, it was the Colt 45. And when they made the auto pistol, they wanted one of the, I don't know if it was official spec or whatever, but they said, hey, get us the ballistics from the 45 Colt into an auto pistol. Big, heavy, slow-moving piece of lead. That's what they wanted. Because let's not forget, there was no high-speed hollow points and, external hollow points and expanding bullets and all this other kind of crap. You had lead or jacketed big fat pieces of lead. That's what you had back then.
To be fairly honest, on a ballistics nerd side of things, a lot of stuff from growing up testing the 45 a lot. I'm not me. My people that I know, that 45 is going too slow to expand those beautiful hollow points even. So a lot of times, like, dude, Elmer Keith was onto a very good idea with them, like shooting basically wad cutters, that style, with them slower bullets, because you're still just grinding it through, because they're never gonna, they're just like punching holes and stuff. You're getting a 45 caliber hole, like you're not gonna get any kind of expansion on those hollow points with a round going 800 to 1,000 feet per second.
Yeah. Well,
and Josh is right. When you're talking about the operator guys, there's a great channel called Modern Tactical Shooting.
Yeah.
A guy named Jeff Gerwich, who was a special forces guy, Green Beret, I think.
I've seen that video.
Or maybe he was Delta. Was he?
He was a Green Beret.
Green Beret. Okay. Yeah, and he talked about it. They all carried 1911s. They didn't want the Berettas, and I before I forget this comment about never talked about. Josh, you talked about your 45, your HK 45C.
Yeah, just did a video on it.
We've talked about, we talked about other guns chambered.
The Mark 23 is literally one of my grail guns. Like if I could find an HK Mark 23, if Legacy Firearms, if you get one of them, I promise you I'll put it on my plate.
Well, to your point though, like, what's interesting is the original 45 ACP was actually 900 feet per second. The military was like, slow that down. They wanted it closer to 8. And in fact, the 1914 manual over there has a diagram in the original bullet specs. It says 802 feet per second was the specified bullet.
With a 230? Because I know they started out with
200 grain.
Was the
Correct.
first one.
You're right. Yep. 200 grain.
So, yeah, but here's the thing. The 45 doesn't have the reputation that it does for being so effective in hollow points. It has the reputation it has as a
they
ball.
all follow the hard ball. I believe you said
the hard ball. That's right. They do. I mean, it's not,
Well, and again, it's very anecdotal. I know people are going to go to their gel and their data charts.
Yep.
But you know who I take really seriously?
2 World Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the FUDs that ruin it for us. I carry a 45 because they don't make a 46. Well, they do. They make a 460.
Never getting
they do now. But
Jeff Cooper said never get in a gunfight with anything less that doesn't start with a 4.
It doesn't start with a 4. That's right.
I don't think he's wrong, but to that point, though,
he ain't wrong.
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong. But like that whole thing about ball and all this stuff. Like me personally, I don't believe in magic bullets. I don't believe in like, oh, you got to carry this bullet and it's got new technology. Okay, screw all that. Add in like clothes and different people's bodies and glass and laminate and drywall and
angles
wood
that they're getting hit at, like in the FBI shooting.
Yes, I just don't believe in magic bullets. And at the end of the day, I'm just a big fan of the 45, man. Like,
so there's another channel called Small Arms Solutions. I don't know if you heard of him. Okay, so he used to be a detective. Great channel. I've seen his videos where he used to be a detective, and he talked about going to shooting scenes with dead people, and the vast majority of them were shot with full metal jackets, and they were just as dead.
Well, where do you think the people, the criminals, the gang members and stuff, they're not going out buying federal HST?
No,
they're buying white box 115s,
Tula,
the cheapest stuff they could find, because they can't really, like a lot of these places, they can't find a gun store that sells this stuff. Chicago, all this stuff, and to even buy ammunition, a lot of these places you got to do a background check. Like you're buying it, when you buy the gun, you get a couple mags, and then you throw it away. You start over again. So like you're not getting federal HST, hydroshocks, all this stuff. Are you kidding me? So there's a lot of data. I
agree with Josh. There are millions and millions of human beings no longer walking on this planet alive because of full metal jacket projectiles. I mean, let's face it, you're putting holes into humans that they weren't born with.
Even modern day.
Modern day. All the rifle bullets are
correct me if I'm wrong, pretty much all the military issues is ball ammo.
It's all ball
ammo, pretty much.
Which again, it all comes back to marksmanship.
Yes.
That's why I don't put my trust in magic bullets or anything. Even if I couldn't, and like I own 9mm handguns.
Mhm.
I carry them sometimes. I don't feel undergunned with them
No.
because there's one thing in my head. I've got to hit a heart, a brain, or a spine. That's all I got. If I don't do that, I'm jacked, and I can't miss. I'm not allowed to miss, or I'm going to get hung up to dry. That is life for us in this concealed carry world or defensive world. So, yeah,
because like, if you're gonna use it as civilians, you better be sure you know what you're doing. It's like we don't have the luxury.
It's a huge responsibility, man. It's I don't like to be cavalier about it because it's like, man, it's so heavy. It's anybody who's ever had the law turned on them, just in an investigative capacity, knows what that feels like to be like, oh man, did I do the right thing? It's heavy. It's really heavy.
You think getting pulled over for a traffic infraction is stressful?
Oh boy.
You think that's stressful? Kick it up when you're talking life sentences. Okay,
when you got some bloodthirsty prosecutor who just wants to see you burn.
Yep.
In an anti-gun state, Yeah.
You got, knock on wood, you and I, Matt, we live in a free state. But even then, it's make sure you're doing the right thing.
Well, Josh did Florida. Florida's pretty good too.
Yeah, Florida's good too.
Even then, like you said,
do everything you can avoid. Make sure you're taking the right type of classes. Practice, and become like I talked to
become
some
a Jedi. Jedi's weapon is a 1911. So
that's right.
Some SF guys back in the day said, "I'm a black belt and ching ching pow." Ching ching pow, and become a black belt.
But I wanted to say this earlier, getting back to Josh's topic before we're over 2 hours, so we can shut it down if you guys want. But you're right. The FBI HRT team had Springfield Armory 1911s. The Delta guys carrying 1911s. Green Berets carrying 1911s. The Marine SOC was the Colt M45. They had 1911s. So all those elite guys back then in the mid 2020, 2010.
Well, yeah, we have too much. Look, if the 1911 came out 10 years ago, all these arguments people make, I might listen to. Here's the problem. We've got 115 years of data proving in jungles, in deserts, in cities, in tanks, on jeeps, and boats,
in planes.
Like shooting tall guys and short guys and brown guys and white guys, and it doesn't matter. We already freaking know the guns work.
Cows, deer,
the ammo works.
Yeah, we already know. That's when people come to me and say this stuff. I'm like, to your point, it's the same thing with black powder. Not, am I advocating for carrying a cap and ball revolver? No. However, how many people died between 1851 and 1890 from firearms? Do you know what those were using?
Black powder.
You freaking black powder, bro.
What was there, like 600,000 killed in the Civil War or some crazy stuff like that? I mean,
it's just
all black powder.
Yeah, man.
We've been ever since humans became a thing, we've been poking holes in each other.
That's right.
We've just created better ways of doing it.
Yep, that's true. More efficient ways to do it.
I mean, what? Cain killed Abel with a rock. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of from the beginning, bro.
So, bottom line is, 1911 is still boss, is still king of everything. It's still,
but it's not even that it's boss. It's the most beautiful gun ever. It's the most elegant. I mean, the close seconds, the high power.
Nailed it with that. The grip angle, the lines of the pistol. It's a piece of art. It's a piece of art. I challenge somebody to show up to a barbecue with an engraved Glock with gold inlay, and I'll be like, "Ew, what the hell is?" I've seen those before. I'm like, "Ew, what the hell is that?"
But
you look at
some president engraved on them, or whatever,
president all over it. You do it with a 1911, and you're like, "Yes, that's
have a barbecue."
That guy knows what he's doing right there.
Like, all right, I see you.
There's a great story, and I have so many of these useless stories. But
Happy Thanksgiving.
yes, happy
Yes,
Thanksgiving,
happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Well, I'll just say this to your point, Matt. You're so right. Like I shot this Colt World War One reproduction yesterday. 300 rounds through it. It's the most fun I've had shooting a gun all year.
Beautiful.
And I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, man, this thing is just so good. Like he just nailed it with this pistol. Now, granted, I did have to wear a piece of moleskin because that pre-war hand. Now, look, I am a well-seasoned A1 shooter. I don't know if you guys can see that scar.
Yeah. We
My
all have them.
Yeah. But even this, it's like a piece of leather right there. Okay. Even this, after about
It's-
5
you-
shots, I was
yeah.
like, I'm done with this. I'm putting on some moleskin.
Which is exactly why they changed it, because
Yeah.
there was an issue.
Oh man, it was eaten. But overall, man, no, it's just like I shot that pistol better than I've shot anything in a while. They're just amazing.
The giggles per round, or the giggles per dollar,
Yes.
of a well-built or a rare or anything. I'd just say gun, firearm, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's got a cool story, like hey, even like, so I bought a Marlin 336 off of, I believe, some crackhead back in the day in a Hardee's parking lot for $100. I ran the numbers on it. It's made from in the mid 50s, a 336, and then it had some carving in the stock. And I gave it to one of my buddy's dads. He reconditioned the stock. I put it together, and my buddy had this old Weaver 2-power scope from the 50s. I put that on there, and I killed a deer with it in modern times in 2020. So you're talking a gun from the 50s with a scope from the 60s. That was reconditioned, rebrought to life, and it's got a new life. That gun will never leave. I couldn't sell it for enough money. That just made that story. Yeah. So, I mean, like, guns are just a functioning piece of art and history, and especially with the 1911. We all love them. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, you're right. Guns in general. I mean, particularly older guns. You know, like a recent purchase for me was I got a Winchester 1892 chambered in 4440, which is a John Moses Browning gun, you know, obviously. And yeah, man, it's just like I was sitting out there, and you guys know what it's like. Because, Chris, you have a YouTube channel as well, right?
No, not yet, but I do mainly.
Okay,
podcasts.
well, you fooled me. Yeah, so it seemed like you're in the game. But you guys know what it's like. You go out to the range, and it's a lot of work. It's like, okay, I've got to get these angles and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And this one day, I just went out there, and I threw the tailgate down on my F-250. I'm at 110 yards, just lobbing 200 grain pills out of my lever action. And I'm just like, it's so good to be an American. This is so good, man. Like, how blessed are we? How cool is this, man? Like, it's so great.
I believe when I had Eli Duckworth on from Alchemy, he said the manifest destiny of moving west ingrained the pioneer spirit, like the connection between gun and land. Yes. You know, the manifest destiny, and he had such a beautiful way of saying it. Particularly being a person like myself that has grown up in Wyoming my whole life, I can relate to that. Like, I'm not a cowboy, but I've seen the sunrise over the carrying a 45 on my hip with, it's just cool. It's just America, to a T,
Well, and so, I want to take it even further. Because I listen, I wax poetic on this stuff. It is, and there's a series of videos I'm going to be releasing, and I mean them very seriously. That, like, look, if you're an American, it is your birthright and your responsibility to carry a weapon. Like, it is absolutely, it's not something we, a rare treat that we get to do. No, it's like that's who we are as Americans. We're free, wild people. And we get to do whatever we want. And that is most emblematic of being able to strap a firearm on your hip. And people should do it every single freaking day.
Well, yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I've everything from Lexington and Concord all the way to the Manifest
Yep.
Destiny outreach out west. All the way to modern times. You talk about all that was based on the freedom of powder and lead.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
true.
Well said.
All right. So with that, we're at 2:15 on top of what we got cut off before. So I'm going to call it if that's cool with you guys.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, I got to get something to eat, man. So, all right, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. And we'll do this more often, man. This is awesome. I wish
Yep.
Baron could have stayed longer, but he had stuff to take care of. So
Yep.
take it easy, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.